and welcome to today's episode of How the Game Was Won. Today we are at the 20th European Team Championships for the match between Norway and Armenia, Board 1. And it's the game specifically between Magnus Carlsen and Levin Aronian. This game was played on the 15th of November 2015. And we started off with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, knight f6, d3. Carlsen doesn't want to get stuck into any Berlin endgames, so decides to veer off the beaten path as soon as possible. Bishop c5, castles, knight d4, knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, which is a main line with already more than 260 games played in this variation. c3, bishop b6, knight f3, c6, bishop a4, d6, bishop b3. This is obviously a move that Levin had not seen, but taking into account the amount of time that he started thinking immediately at this position. According to him, white normally first plays knight c4 and only then decides about his bishop. Now he was given a chance whether to keep the bishop on the g1 a7 diagonal or not. Continuing, a5, knight c4, bishop a7. Caruana had retreated his bishop to c7 against Karyakin, but Levin has his own ideas. Continuing, a4, castles, bishop g5, h6, bishop f6. Carlsen goes for this exchange as he sees the possibility of winning the a5 pawn. For instance, bishop h4 was another option with g5, bishop g3, bishop e6, giving a fairly interesting position. But after bishop takes an f6, queen takes an f6, knight takes an a5, which is a fairly greedy thing to do, especially on this type of level of play. Continuing, d5, bishop c2, d takes an e4, d takes an e4, rook d8, queen e1. Instead of queen e1, for instance, queen f3 could have been played with queen takes f3, g takes f3, rook d2, rook ac1, bishop a3, knight c4, rook d8, rook c to d1, bishop takes an f2, king h1, bishop takes an f1, rook takes an d2, rook takes an d2, knight takes an d2, bishop e2, bishop b3, bishop e3, bishop c4, bishop d1, bishop b3, which is a fairly long, although forced, complicated variation rattled out by Aronian in the post-game interview, and it comes out with a more or less equal position. So Carlsen had played queen e1, so queen g5, king h1, rook d2, bishop d1, bishop e6, bishop b4, rook a to d8, and knight takes on b7, once again being really greedy. Better would have probably been something along the lines of stabilizing the position with bishop e2, or bishop b3, for instance, with bishop h3, g takes h3, queen f4, knight c4, but that allows rook and 8 down to d3, with queen d2, queen takes on d2, rook takes on d2, knight takes on d2, queen takes on d2, and black is almost winning in this position. And this was also rattled off by Aronian in the post-game interview, and it's a brilliant piece of calculation here by Aronian. But getting back to Carlsen's greediness with knight takes on b7, that just allows bishop c4, knight takes on d8, bishop takes on f1, queen takes on f1, rook f2, and black is a piece down here, but mate is threatened on h2, and the white pieces are completely scattered all over the board. Queen g1, rook a2, rook takes on a2, bishop takes on g1, king takes on g1, and queen c1, which is leaves him with a winning position. Of course, after king takes on g1, queen takes on d8 is also winning, but queen c1 was played with king f2, queen takes on d1, knight c6, queen b3, rook d2, queen takes on c3, and it's not really difficult in this type of position for Aronian to convert the full point, and he continues with rook d6, queen b2 check, king e3, queen a3 check, king f2, queen takes an a4, knight takes an e5, queen c2 with check, king f3, f5, rook d3, f takes an e4 check, king takes an e4, queen takes an g2 with check, knight f3, queen g4 check, king e2, g5, king f2, queen f5, rook d8 check, king g7, king g2, g4, knight d2, queen e6, knight f1, and queen c6. So queen c6 with check. And in this position, Carlsen saw absolutely no point in continuing whatsoever, resigned the game, and that, my friends, is how the game was won. A win for Aronian over Carlsen, and helping Armenia to pick up the point against Norway in the team competition. Remember to click like, share, subscribe, post any comments, questions, criticisms that you may have in the comment section down below. Let me know if this audio is better than it was a couple of months ago, as I'm trying out a new system here right at the moment. And until we meet again, remember to stay carved up for the win. I'll see you next time. Cheers. Go Vegas!